You did it. We did it. You are 1 year old. Hey Ginny, it's me, your dad. I'm making videos for you every month so that someday when you're older you can look back and you can know what your life was like when you were tiny. This is your story. You are 1 year old. Wherever and whenever you are in the future, I'm sure 1 year old does not sound like a big deal, but to me, it's a huge deal because I didn't even know if I wanted kids, but then I met you and I loved you. And like, if we're being honest, the first few months were really rough. Like the first 4 months were pretty touch and go. And I didn't know if we'd both come out of it. 1 year ago today, plus 1 day, so October 10th, 2020, it was just a regular Saturday. We were getting ready for your arrival because we were told you would come on October 14th. And in our minds, for whatever reason, the doctor saying October 14th as the expected due date became, well, she'll come October 14th or later. She won't be any earlier. But that morning, your mom looked at me and she said,
I think I felt some contractions.
so I asked your mom, do you think this is labor? And she said, no, it doesn't feel like what I think labor will feel like. So we just carried on with her day, but her discomfort increased and increased. We called the midwife, just to get their opinion. We say, well, we think, but we're not sure. And the midwife goes, well, if you think, it's probably not. You'll know. You'll know if it's labor. Have a bath, relax. Your mom does these things. She goes, she lays down, and she's having a hard time. So I go in, I check on her, and she says, I know the midwife says we didn't need to do this, but let's check in. Let's just time them. And you're supposed to time contractions, how far apart they are, for an hour. So if you're having contractions and they're lasting for about a minute for the course of an hour and they're about 4 minutes apart, that's the time frame you want to phone the hospital. At a little bit after 10, I say to your mother, you need to know that these contractions are happening 2 minutes apart. So I go downstairs, I get the car, and I'm pulling it up front, and that's when I shot the little video to you, asking you to be good to your mom because I was so scared of what you would do and how it would change our lives. Unfortunately, because we still thought we had a few days till you were born, I hadn't mapped out exactly how to get to the hospital. Like, didn't think I needed to because it's so close to where we live. And the critical part I missed out on was where to park and where the entrance is. Remember, this was the height of COVID. Most hospital entrances weren't open. So I ended up struggling to find a parking spot. It ends up being far, and your mother had to walk. And she kept stopping to have contractions. We get in the delivery room, and Daniela's running around getting everything prepped, and eventually Tiffany, our second midwife, arrives. And your mom gets into it, and she's giving birth, and I was trying to be respectful and not take any video, but I did take this clip. There was like a little bit of complication, which we've talked about before, but overall, it was great. You come out of your mother, and they place you on her chest. I'm on her right-hand side, and just the way that they placed you, I can't see your face. I haven't seen your face yet. I stood there for a bit, just watching your mom and you. Your mom is holding you, stroking you, and you were crying, and she was saying, I know. And after a moment, I asked the midwife, can I go to the other side of the bed? Can I see my baby? And they kind of laughed and like, yeah, of course you can go see your baby. And I go over and I see you for the first time, and I think, she's kind of ugly. And I was afraid to touch you. Like, I didn't know if I could. But very gingerly, I put this hand out and I put it toward you. And you grabbed onto my finger. We got assigned a room, and due to COVID, we didn't have to share a room with anyone. but there was still only like one bed. So I think when your mom got up to pee or something, I had my first moment alone with you. You were on my chest, and I got to hold you.
Here we are, looking at our first sunset.
We had to spend,
So
I
nice.
believe it was like 36 hours in the
Here we
hospital.
are.
And your mom and I were so excited that we actually, and this is just how kind your mom is, she invited me up into the bed so I wouldn't have to sleep in a chair. And we curled up together. And we took you, our newborn little bundle of pink screaming, and we put you between us. And we just both laid there and just stared at you. And we'd fall asleep for little bits, and we'd wake up, and occasionally we'd wake up because a nurse was coming in to take you away from us because that was unsafe. Then they said we could take you home. And here we are, 1 year later. So for your birthday, we kept things pretty quiet. Your noni came in from Saskatchewan to visit, to be here for the event. Your mom made a cake, and after dinner, like, we gave you your favorite dinner, steak and French fries. So after dinner, you were just covered in cake, and your noni said, "I'm gonna run a bath." And so she picked you up and she took you down the hall and she put you in the bath. And while she was doing that, I started going through my phone and I started looking at all the photos I have of you. And I was looking at your progress and how much you've changed. Like, you physically, you look very different, of course. And I started to tear up. I started getting very emotional thinking about the journey of the last year. And your mother came out and she sat with me and we were looking at the photos together. And it was just this kind of really perfect moment. And while we were doing this, your noni brought you out of the bathtub and she put you naked in your play zone. Your mom and I are looking at these photos and tearing up. Then all of a sudden, you shit in the play zone.
I know.
Who let her go naked? This wasn't the first time she let you roam around naked either. Oh no, she had done it the previous day.
See, I have a different belief than the parents. I believe in free roaming children.
Where were you letting her roam yesterday when she went to the bathroom?
On your
On-
excuse me, on your bed,
On whose side of the bed?
your side.
Happy birthday. I can't wait for the rest. Not the rest like as in I think you're gonna die soon. Happy birthday, kid. Love ya.